and then pass the action itself. Alright, and then all we need to do is call this.dispatch and send that payload. This.dispatch, and we'll pass in payload. Alright, and that's it. We just need to export it. And that's it for our dispatcher. Okay, we're not going to have to touch it again. So we can close that up. Let's see if we reload. Okay, everything still works. Now let's go to the constants folder, app constants, and that's going to be very simple. It's just going to be an object of constants, really. So we're going to put module.exports just so we have access to it outside. And then we're just going to put our different constants. For instance, we're going to have one called search movies. So we'll say search underscore movies is going to be search underscore movies. Alright, simple as that. And this file isn't actually needed, but it just sorts things out a little better. Alright, so we'll save that, close that for now. And now we'll go to our actions file. Alright, we're not going to create any actions just yet. I just want to get it set up. Alright, so we need to include our dispatcher. So we'll say var app dispatcher, and we'll set that to require. Okay, that's going to go outside of this directory. So // and then we want dispatcher / app dispatcher. Okay, we're also going to want the constants file that we just created, so we're going to say app constants app constants. Alright, and then we're going to have a variable called app actions, and we're going to set that to an object, and this is where we're going to put our actions. Alright, now you want to make sure that we export this at the bottom, so module.export equals app actions. Alright, so that's where we'll set those up. Now the store, let's go to stores and then app store, and this is where most of the data logic will go. Alright, so we need to include a few things. We need our dispatcher and constants. I'm actually going to copy that from the actions file. Alright, and we're going to need something called the event emitter. Okay, so we're going to say var event emitter, and we're going to set that to require, and we want to require events and then .event emitter, just like that. Okay, we also need our object assign. Okay, also the app API, which I'm going to grab from, where did we have that? Right here. Okay, and then we're going to create a constant called change event, and we're just going to set that to the text of change, to the string of change. Alright, now let's create a variable for our movies array. Okay, when we go and use the API and we fetch the movies and bring it back, we're going to put it in an array called underscore movies. Okay, I'm going to set that to just an empty array for now. We're also going to have a variable called selected, and what that's going to be, it's going to be empty for now. When we put something in the search form and click search, then this is going to be filled with whatever is in there. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is create the app store variable, and we're going to set that, and we want it to go to assign. Alright, and then in here we're going to put in an empty object, and then we want our event emitter. We want to say event emitter dot prototype. Alright, whoops, prototype. And then we can create our store methods or store functions, which will go here. Now, a lot of this stuff can be repeated in other applications, so you can kind of use it as a template. There's some stuff here that you may not fully understand, but just know that it needs to be there. Alright, so we're going to need a function called emit change. Alright, so let's say emit change, set that to a function, and it's just going to do this dot emit. Alright, and then we're going to pass in that change event. Alright, that's all it's going to do. And then we're going to create one called add change listener. So add change listener function, and that's going to take in a callback parameter. And we're going to say this dot on change, and then we want that callback. Alright, and then the last one that we need to create right here is remove change listener. Okay, so set that to function. Same thing, gonna take a callback. Alright, and let's copy this. And instead of this dot on, we want this dot remove listener. Okay, so that's the App Store. We will be adding custom methods up here, things to, for instance, fetch the movies, to set the selected movie, things like that. Now down here, we're going to use the app dispatcher. So we're going to say app dispatcher dot register. Okay, and then we're going to pass into that function, and this is where we're going to pass in the payload that we get from the dispatcher. Alright, and then we're just going to set a variable called action, and I'm going to set that to payload dot action. Okay, now what we can do is we're going to have a switch statement that's going to check out which action was called, and then we can do whatever we need to do. For instance, we'll have a search movies action, and we'll take care of that. We'll interact with the API to get the movies from the API. Okay, so we're going to use a switch statement here. Alright, and switch is going to be action dot action type. Okay, so depending on the action type, and then we'll have our cases, things like that. But I'm not going to do that just yet. I just want to get this file set up first. Alright, after the switch statement, we just want to return true. Alright, and then the last thing in this file is just to export it. So we're going to say module dot exports equals app store. Okay, so that's our store file, and this whole thing here can actually kind of be used as a template. All right, it's not limited to this application aside from these here. Okay, these are the only things that really you wouldn't have in this file if you were to use it somewhere else. Now the last thing I want to do here is just set up the app API file, which is in the utils folder. Okay, so we do want to include the actions here. So we want app actions require app actions. Okay, and then we're just going to set up a module exports so that we can read this outside of this file, and then that's where we'll have our API calls. For instance, we'll have search movies, which will be a function. Alright, so I'll just set that up for now, and that's going to take in a movie parameter. Alright, but we'll finish this function later on. Alright, so that's going to be it for this video. We have all of our files set up, all of our includes, things like that. In the next video, we're going to start to create our search form. Okay, that's really all the page is going to consist of at first, is just a search form. And then once we enter the movies, we'll create our results and all that good stuff. Alright, so I will see you in the next video.